Hello, everyone. We are the University of Cincinnati's first year PhD poetry cohort. And for National Poetry Month, we decided we would do a little Zoom reading for the week. I'm Taylor Byas.
I'm Connor Yeck.
I'm Nick Molbert.
I'm Marianne Chan.
All right, and away we go. So for my poem, I chose Catherine Pierce's, let's get that up on the screen. The teenager watches the tornado in her rearview, largely because I love Catherine Pierce's work, and there was a tornado here in Cincinnati like last week, so a little fitting. So the teenager watches the tornado in her rearview. Yesterday, tornado, I lied to my father, a good man. I told him C and I were going to the game, but instead we were in a pickup, teeth and skin, vinyl sweating, hollering words I've been told are unholy, but God, they felt holy. We stayed till we turned to salt and ash, and then drove home looking just the same. Later, I found a seatbelt bruise on my hip, and I stroked it as my blood pulsed. Next time, next time, next time. Now you fill the mirror completely. All around me, the sky is somewhere I've never been. On the radio, an ad for Ted's Tires on 12. The woman's voice light like she's never seen a wicked thing in her life. The tercel is rattling like a tin can tied to a dog's tail. I saw that in a movie once. Oh God, I saw that in a movie once. Last night, when I got home, my father said, good night, my buffalo gal. And I thought only, blank with relief, he doesn't know.
All right, so I'm going to read a poem by Benjamin Pierce Miller that was in the Colorado Review summer 2019 issue. It won the 2019 AWP Intro Journals projects. Let's see if I can get this on the screen. All right. Properties of Wonder by Benjamin Pierce Miller. Easier to speak of our own imperfections now that this bedroom light has done half the work. The two of us having only seen each other clothed, now dozing in these nooks of flesh as if we were always like this, always would be. Work, because the way your finger touches the long scar above my stomach feels like learning. Your head pressed to the side of my sternum, listening. You ask as you rise with my ribs, has my heart always beat this way? Fast, irregular. Yes, I tell you, but how to say it's always bothered me? How else to explain that once you notice so many crows, you start to fear for the garden? I worry that wonder may also work this way, the kind of wonder that only lets you feel it if you haven't already noticed, that once you do, it is forever changed. If there was a metaphor for this, it too is gone. In middle school health class, my partner had to count my pulse, and I asked her to lie about it. So quiet, the way she drew 2 fingers from my neck and looked at me as if she pulled every remaining sound from my lungs. She checked a box, false proof of how the world filtered through me, soft, regulated, moving with purpose, at a speed the body could dictate. Not at all like my father's heart. I'm told on the phone tonight, over at your place. Funny how a phone call can seal you in, make the light on the porch curve and sharpen, noticeable now as metaphor. Snow is still on the ground, so you place a coat on my shoulders as I step outside to take the call. My mother has been looking at diagrams of heart valves in children's books, so she explains it to me really well. They think it's congenital. Imagine a paper circle cut in 3 places so that the whole thing flowers open. Well, his would only be cut in 2 places, so it puckers open like a fish mouth. As I listen, I can almost feel the heat of your apartment meeting the long, cool glass of the door. Streaks of condensation slip quickly down, dropping into the furrows of other beads, falling much like rain might if rain couldn't move sideways but was forced flat, down the glass pane of sky and into all our lives equally, instead of the way it prefers to fall, fast, irregular, but never once stopping.
Hey, sorry about that. So I'm going to read a New York poem by Terrence Hayes. And this poem was published first in the New Yorker, but it is also in How to Be Drawn. And I'm reading this poem because I love Terrence Hayes and I also love New York City, and I'm rooting for everybody who's in New York City right now. New York poem. In New York, from a rooftop in Chinatown, one can see the sci-fi bridges and aisles of buildings where there are more miles of shortcuts and alternative takes than there are Miles Davis alternative takes. There is a white girl who looks hijacked with feeling in her glittering jacket and her boots that look made of dinosaur skin, and R is saying to her, "I love you," again and again. On a Chinatown rooftop in New York, anything can happen. Someone says abattoir is such a pretty word for slaughterhouse. Someone says mermaids are just fish ladies. I am so fucking vain, I cannot believe anyone is threatened by me. In New York, not everyone is forgiven. Dear New York, dear girl with a barcode tattooed on the side of your face, and everyone writing poems about and inside and outside the subways, dear people underground in New York, on the sci-fi bridges and aisles of New York, on the rooftops of Chinatown where Miles Davis is pumping in and someone is telling me about contronyms, how cleave and cleave are the same word looking in opposite directions. I now know bolt is to lock and bolt is to run away. That's how I think of New York. Someone jonesing for Grace Jones at the party and someone jonesing for Grace.
Okay, and finally, I'm going to read Conversation with Phyllis Wheatley by Tiana Clark. And I'm reading this poem because I love Tiana Clark's poetry, but also I just think it's really beautiful. So, Conversation with Phyllis Wheatley, number 2. Tell me about your baptism, she asked. I rose out of the water, a caught fish, slippery, gaping for breath, brand new with righteousness. I walked down to the frothing whirlpool. Pastor Lonnie, a white man in a white robe, extended his hands and helped me down the steps. The congregation watched as I answered his questions. Yes, yes, yes. Jacuzzi warm water gurgled and spun as his white robe spread around my little circumference. Holy creamer. He put his hand on my nose, pinched my breath. I did not close my eyes as he buried me under the water. Under the water, I heard muffled shouting. Under the water, I saw Pastor Lonnie's face ripple in thirds. He tipped my body back, lifted me up and out from the wet coffin to the deafening resound of clapping and yelling from the church. My hair back to curls, my face like the face of my birth when I was cut from my mother, terrified and ready to scream. So this is our first week of National Poetry Month readings. We'll probably do one every week, but so long for now, and we'll probably see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.